Welcome to the Dozen Trivia Tournament Selection Special, presented by High Noon. Real vodka, real juice, 100 calories, absolutely delicious. High Noon sponsoring the tournament as well. I'm your commissioner, Jeff D'Lo, and we are here to reveal the 12 teams getting in to the Dozen Trivia Tournament as we try and crown our first ever champion this May. Here's what is going to happen with the tournament. Let's run through it real quick. We will record in studio. Huge set. It's crazy, like a real game show set. May 4th and 5th. The first match will air May 10th with the finals on May 27th, the Thursday before Memorial Day weekend. So we will have multiple matches for those final 3 weeks of May. 12 teams make the field based on a combination of 50% fan vote and 50% computer vote. So you at home, your voice was very much heard. Only one champion, single elimination. The top 4 seeds get a bye. 12 teams get in, and let's get to that bracket reveal presented by our champion sponsor, High Noon. The number 1 overall seed is, of course, Frank and the Frankettes playing in the Peach Region. There they are celebrating. They knew already, but you have to have your moment here on the selection show. They're fired up. They know it's all business now going forward. They get a bye in this tournament. They've been dominant since the beginning. For months, they've been the dominant force. Frank the Tank, KB, and Nick, they're 12-2 overall coming into the tournament on a 7-match win streak, with their only losses coming ever to the experts and a shocking upset at the hands of Team Chicago. But they remain the only team to defeat both the Yak and Team Minahan. They've been the number 1 ranked team by the fans every single week, almost always getting over 50% of the fan vote. They're absolutely dominant, as I said, especially in academic-based questions. They're number 1 in the league, 10-0 in the niche category of world capitals for KB, and they hold the largest point differential in total with a whopping 54-plus points over their competitors. They will play the winner of the matchup between the 8 seed, Spittin' Chicklets. After living in the top 5 for much of the first season, Spittin' Chicklets, they take their 1-2 record in the tournament following a pretty tough loss against Team Minahan a few weeks ago. Their computer ranking has plummeted down to 10th. The fans still supporting them pretty strongly. They got a big fan base, ranking them at 7th. In the second half of that matchup will be, of course, the 9 seed, Gen XYZ, boasting the 2nd ranked overall player in the field in large. Gen XYZ has had a kind of up and down season. They're 4-4, have not been too great lately, but Large Vibs and Jake Marsh, they are still a very strong team despite being 2-3 in their last 5. And they have a diverse resume as well, holding wins over 3 separate teams in the Uptown Balls, Ziti, and the Experts. And they're also the top-ranked team on all food-related questions. So those are the 3 teams in the Peach Region. Let's move on down the bracket now to the 2 seed in the Pineapple Region. The number 2 overall seed and the bye in the Pineapple Region is Team Minahan, the number 1 ranked team by the computers. Team Minahan coming off a huge win over Spittin' Chicklets and has continued to impress all season. They've raised their point total in every single match, never scoring less than 11 points, and in their lone loss to number 1 overall seed Frank and the Frankettes, they still scored 12. They lost 13-12. They have the number 1 overall ranked player in Kirk Minahan, and even Steve Robinson has crept into the top 15 lately. No team is better at non-sports or TV and movie trivia. They get 84% of those questions. Kirk, Steve, and Kraubitz are also a perfect 5-0 when answering doubled-up questions that have the highest scoring average in the league at 12.75 points per match. They will take on the winner of an incredibly intriguing matchup. The 7 seed is the Misfits, Dante Riggs and new member Hank Lockwood. They're locked into the field as the only undefeated team. It's small, but it's still an impressive 2-0. They're a new team. They've been solid. They took down Hank's old team, the now disbanded Renaissance Men, before a strong win over the Experts we saw a couple weeks ago. Hank steps into the fold. Will the Misfits remain strong? Their matchup will be against the 10 seed, Team Nightmare. This is actually an interesting one because Hank just played with this team as a fill-in for Casey Smith when they took on Team Ziti in the Bubble Showcase, where they won. Very solid win. Casey Smith, cons, and fights. They remain the most hated team in the competition. The villains, though, they're 7-3. It's tough to go against that record. They're 7-3 with their only loss together, the 3 of them, coming to Team Minahan. And amidst the many cheating scandals, allegations, the sanctions, all they've done is put up big numbers and win. But a computer ranking of number 4 was not enough to save them from slipping down to the 10 seed because the fans had them ranked 14th. Incredible stuff. But moving back up the bracket now, we go to the Watermelon Region, where we will find the 3 seed, Team Yak has the third bye in the tournament. Longtime number one ranked team, and also the best team in 2020. Big Cat, Stephen Che, and Roan, they slip a bit after their match with 100 loss to Frank and the Frankettes. They're 0-2 against the Frankettes, but the three teammates, they're arguably the most well-oiled machine in the competition. Big Cat ranked number 3 overall individually, Stephen Che number 4, and Roan number 5. They're actually struggling to land a niche category because they're just so good across the board. They're number 1 in correct answer percentage, steals per game, questions about pro sports, and all football-related questions, and have the second highest scoring average. Their only wins, however, have been against experts and chicklets. Some have noted that with their lone losses, like I said, coming to Frank and the Frankettes. Their matchup, regardless who wins, by the way, is going to have quite the intriguing storyline. First up, the 6th seed in the region is Team Smokin. They tumble out of the top 5 after a 15-12 loss to the Big Screamin' Honkers, the highest scoring match in the history of the competition. Mark Titus has replaced original member Trill Ballins, and Smokin has been solid in all 4 matches, but they're 2-0 with Trill, but 0-2 without him. So Big Cat's Yak team will be playing his longtime friend Mark Titus or his guys in Chicago. That's right, Carl, Chief, and White Sox Dave grabbed the 11 seed. They're fired up. There you see, they're with Eddie as well. Eddie's still waiting to see if Ziti will make it into the field. But Chicago, one of the original teams in the competition, they're 5-10. Not a great record, but guess what? Their resume has a few very strong wins. They've beat the experts, as we know, and they have a massive victory over Frank and the Frankettes that single-handedly kept them off the bubble in the lead up to the tournament. But no team is more seasoned than Chicago. They've played the most diverse set of opponents in the league outside of the experts. They've gone up against the experts, Frankettes, Ziti, Minahan, Nightmare, the Big Screamin' Honkers, and 2.5 Men. They're a very frightening 11 seed in this bracket. And finally, the drama, the suspense is going to end here. We move on to the Grapefruit Region, the last region to reveal in this bracket. As we learned in match 104, the 4 seed, the last bye, goes to the Big Screamin' Honkers, a fan favorite team that has taken on many members over the last year. They've finally settled into a dominant lineup with Coley Mick, Robbie Fox, and Ben Mintz. They have an ever-changing niche category as well, very strong in that. UFC, wrestling, comic book movies, they can kind of be anything, and they walk into the field on fire, 4-1 in their last 5, and 6-2 since Ben Mintz joined the squad. Coley's the highest-ranked player on the team at 20th, but had a couple competitors go on the record the last few days saying they think he's a top 5 player in the league. They're 7-4 overall, despite being one of the worst teams in the bonus round as well, meaning they can really only get better from here. Their second round opponent will be between the winner of the 5-12 matchup. Who is the 5 seed? I mean, come on, you've figured it out by now. You haven't seen their name revealed yet. Of course, it's the experts, the original team that started the league. They're 4-2 since adding Fran, which was a very needed addition, especially in the celebrity mashups category, a staple of every match. They were one of the worst in the league. Now they're one of the best. Brandon and PFT have combined for the most games played overall. 41-32 is their total record, and they picked up super team status when Fran joined them back in early March to round out their team of 3. But they're 4-1 in their last 5, and Brandon Walker has said he is going to win the tournament. And they will take on the 12 seed, the last team in the field, which has yet to be decided. That's right, folks. We head to a play-in game. The drama continues. There was a dead heat tie for the final spot in the tournament between the first play-in game team, the Uptown Balls. That is right, the second team to ever play in the league. Smitty, Tommy, Smokes, and Glenny Balls get into the dance despite a loss in their Bubble Showcase matchup to 2.5 Men. They're 5-7 overall and easily the most chaotic team in the competition. I think they hate each other. Their 1-point loss to Frank and the Frankettes in January still definitely stings, though, because had they won that match, they likely would not be in the playing game. They'd just be straight up into the field. But yes, this matchup will be between the Uptown Balls and the last team into the field, fighting for a spot as the 12 seed. It is Team Ziti. Eddie, big sigh of relief for Eddie, has to be fired up. He was nervous. There was one point he was saying, do we even deserve to be in? But Eddie, Clem, and maybe Rico, we'll get to that in a second, get into the field, an absolute stunner. Ziti sneaks in amidst all the controversy and drama surrounding their team. And of course, they get in despite their abysmal 2-10 record. Rico Bosco refused to play in their last match against his rival Captain Cons and his, sort of rival fights. And Eddie and Clem had to film in with Dave Portnoy, where they blew a late lead lost a nail-biter to Team Nightmare, but then Dave said, I might play for the team if you want me, but Eddie and Clem, they didn't really commit. They've not really made a firm, solid decisions. Rico's name was in the voting form, but they haven't shown any signs of dropping Rico, so who knows at this point. Regardless, it's their time to figure out the drama now because they're in the field, but as a play-in game participant against the Uptown Balls, with the winner taking on the experts as a 12 seed. All right, let's step back real quick. Let's take a look at those last 4 teams that got into the tournament. Nightmare gets in as a 10 seed. They, again, much stronger than a 10 seed, but their fan voting really hurt them. Chicago, the 11 seed, and then the 2 teams duking it out in the playing game for the 12 seed, Uptown Balls and Ziti. Uptown Balls has a computer ranking of 11.7, a fan vote ranking of 12. They just squeaked out the team below them. Ziti, computer ranking of 14.7. Terrible ranking, but because of their fan ranking of 9, both those 2 teams averaged a ranking of 11.8, and guess what? That was enough to put them in a tie and have them in this play-in game. It will be the first matchup of the tournament. A lot of drama is going to come out of this. I know people are already screaming, you're either fully Team Ziti in or fully Team Ziti out, but they do sort of make the field as they will be a play-in game participant. How about the teams that didn't get in? The first 4 teams out. Dozen fans should know it. 2.5 Men, they just missed the field. They're the first team out. Despite a significantly better computer ranking than Ziti, their fan vote was just not enough. It sunk them. Joey, Big Ev, Za, look, we know what it was. They weren't able to jump up high enough. They did have that bubble showcase win over the Uptown Balls, but that late blown lead on March 11th, up 4 points with 3 questions remaining to the experts. They then lost in overtime. That was the difference, no doubt about it. And then following up 2.5 Men, Peanut Butter and Kelly Keegs, Trent, and Nate. Obviously a lot of drama surrounding that team. They lost Fran. They initially had her on their team. 0-1 after they added Kelly Keegs. After them comes the Mama's Boys, Big T, Lisa Ann, and Pat. They were never able to muster up a win. And then the 0-1 Big O's, the 4th of the first 4 teams out. Owen, Tyler O'Day, and Jeff Nadeau. All right, why not one more look at the top 4 overall seeds in this tournament? Frank and the Frankettes, we've known it for a little while. Followed by Team Minahan again. They jumped the Yak late here in the regular season, so they're just behind the regular season champions, Frank and the Frankettes. The Yak, the 3rd seed, and then the late surge, the Big Screamin' Honkers, are the 4th seed, the 4th team to get a first round bye. One more look at the overall bracket here. This is what it's gonna look like. 1 champion from this list of 13 teams, because it's a field of 13 now. We do have a play-in game due to the tie between Ziti and Uptown Balls. But there will be only 1 champion. That's it. Single elimination. 13 teams got in. There's a play-in game, so I'm sure people are going to argue about if we're going to count the loser of the play-in game as getting into the field. That's up for you at home to decide. Also at home, pick a team. We got merch dropping as well. Back a team, buy a shirt. If you buy a shirt, we might be able to sell hats, cool shit like that. So back your favorite team, throw some support out there for them. May 10th, the first match of the tournament, the playing game, Uptown Balls against Ziti will air, and they will have matches the rest of that month. 4 matches each week, the last 3 weeks of May, until we crown a champion the Thursday before Memorial Day weekend. Thank you, as always, for watching, and of course to High Noon for sponsoring here. Pick up some High Noon while you're watching as well. A delicious way to watch all of these matches. Real set, real buzzer, real timer. It's going to be nuts. We will see you on May 10th.